Organization. The Cabinet Secretariat has three wings: civil wing, military wing, and intelligence wing. The civil wing is the main wing and provides aid, advice, and assistance to the Union Cabinet. The military wing of the department provides secretariat assistance to Defense Ministers Committee, the Military Affairs Committee, the Chiefs of Staff Committee, the National Defense Council, and other committees dealing with defense issues. The intelligence wing deals with the matters pertaining to the Joint Intelligence Committee of the Union Cabinet. In 1988, the Directorate of Public Grievances was set up as an organ of the Cabinet Secretariat. It is headed by a director having the rank of a secretary to the Government of India. It deals with public grievances relating to the following organization of the central government: departments of railways, telecommunication and posts, Ministries of Surface Transportation, Civil Aviation and Urban Development, Insurance and Banking Division of the Department of Economic Affairs of the Ministry of Finance, Directorate General of Shipping and Port Trust, Delhi Transport Corporation, Indian Airlines and Air India. Below and under the cabinet secretary, there are a large number of other secretaries to assist him in the discharge of his functions and responsibilities. These secretaries belong to various ranks ranging from secretary to an undersecretary. In addition, the cabinet secretariat has subject related advisors to the prime minister. The functions of the cabinet secretariat are: it prepares the agenda of the cabinet and provides the necessary information and material for its deliberations. It keeps a record of the discussion and decisions of the cabinet and cabinet committee and circulates theme to all the concerned ministries. It provides secretariat assistance to the cabinet committee, political affairs committee, described as super cabinet, economic affairs committee, appointments committee. All the three are chaired by the prime minister, and committee on parliamentary affairs, chairman, home minister. It keeps the president, the vice president, and all the central ministers informed of the main activities of the central government. It prepares and finalizes the rules of business of the government and allots the business of the government among ministries, departments of the union government with the president's approval. It functions as the chief coordinating agency in the central government. In this respect, it settles disputes between the ministries. It supervises the implementation of cabinet decision by the concerned ministries, departments, and other executive agencies. It handles the work pertaining to appointment and resignation of ministries, allotment of portfolios to the ministers, and organization and reorganization of ministries. The Cabinet Secretary is the administrative head of the Cabinet Secretariat. Being Secretary of the Cabinet Secretariat, he, as a rule, attends the meetings of the Cabinet and is present in all the Cabinet committees. Provides assistance to the Council of Ministers. Acts as advisor and conscience keeper of the civil services. Handles senior appointments, prepares of the agenda of the cabinet, attends meetings of the cabinet, ensure that the cabinet decisions are implemented, advises the prime minister, acts the chairman of the committee of secretaries on administration, acts as the chairman of the chief secretaries committees, and provides an element of continuity and stability. The cabinet secretary is always close to the prime minister, who is fact is the official under whom the Cabinet Secretariat works. As Cabinet Secretary, he is the ex officio chairman of the Civil Services Board and thus the head of the Indian Administrative Services. As a matter of convention, the senior most civil servant is appointed as a Cabinet Secretary. He or she belongs to the Indian Administrative Services. The incumbent generally has tenure of 2 to 3 years. He is in fact India's most powerful bureaucrat. Central Secretariat. The Central Secretariat is organizationally a collection of various ministries and departments. A ministry does the job of formulation of the policy concerning the ministry together with its execution and review. Each ministry is subdivided into subgroups with the officer in charge of each of them. The lowest of the above units is the section officer, under whom there are number of assistants, clerks, typists, and peons. The section deals with the work relating to the subject allotted to it. It is also referred to as the office. Two sections constitute the branch, which is under the charge of an under secretary, also known as the branch officer. Two branches ordinarily form a division, which is normally headed by a deputy secretary. When the volume of work in a ministry exceeds the manageable charge of a secretary, one or more wings are established with a joint secretary in charge of each wing. At the top of the hierarchy comes the department, which is headed by secretary himself, or in some cases by an additional special secretary. In some cases, a department may be as autonomous as ministry and equivalent to it in rank. A ministry is under minister's charge, while the department is under secretary's charge. Ministry may not have a department or may have one or more department. A ministry may have two or more secretaries, each in charge of a specified segment of the ministry's work or of a department in it, but there is in addition, one secretary who is head of and represents the entire ministry. Although all of them are secretaries, the former are subordinate to the latter, who, in addition to his own work, coordinates the work of the secretaries of departments, segments of work within the ministry. The three grades, such as secretary, additional secretary, and joint secretary, constitute the top management, while the deputy secretary and under secretary are referred to as the middle management. The secretary is the administrative head of the ministry department and the principal advisor to the minister. He represents his ministry department before the committees of parliament. He is supposed to keep himself fully informed of the work of his ministry department by demanding weekly summaries on the nature of cases disposed of by lower levels and the manner of their disposal. Where the charge of a secretary is too large, he may be assisted by a joint or additional secretary who formally functions as secretary in relation to the subject allotted to him in the ministry department. The function of the latter is to relieve the secretary of a block of work and to deal where necessary direct with the minister. The secretary, however, is invariably kept informed of all these direct dealings with the minister, for he is not formally relieved of his responsibility as head of the minister department. The deputy secretary is an officer who, as his designation implies, acts on behalf of the secretary. He should dispose of as many cases as possible on his own. Only on more important cases he should, in fact, must seek the secretary's instructions either by referring to him in writing or discussing with him orally. The Under Secretary disposes of minor cases on his own. He submits more important matters to the Deputy Secretary in such a way that the latter is able to deal with them quickly. It must be stressed here that the functionaries at these different levels are supposed to perform their functions, keeping in mind the interest of the Government of India as a whole. The Secretary, in other words, is the Secretary to the Government of India, not to his ministers alone. Function-wise, the Secretariat firstly provides the data about policies and makes them available to the ministers who formulate policies. Secondly, the Secretariat assists the ministers in their legislative work too. It prepares legislative drafts to be introduced in the legislature. Thirdly, it engages in the collection of relevant information for answering parliamentary questions and also for various parliamentary committees. Fourthly, it carries out a detailed scrutiny of the problem, bringing an overall comprehensive viewpoint on it, getting approval, if required, of other related agencies like the Ministry of Law and the Ministry of Finance, and also consulting other organizations concerned on a particular matter. The Secretariat is the clearinghouse preliminary to governmental decisions. Fifthly, it functions as the channel of communication between the government and other concerned agencies like the Planning Commission, Finance Commission, etc. Sixthly, we can say the Secretariat also ensures that the field offices executive with efficiency and economy, the policies and decisions of the government. Seventhly, we can say it makes the sectoral planning and program formulation. And lastly, it does the following miscellaneous jobs: budgeting and control of expenditure in respect of activities of the ministry department, securing administrative and financial approval to operational program and their subsequent modification, supervision and control over the execution of policies and programs by the executive departments or semi-autonomous field agencies, initiating steps to develop greater personal and organizational competence both in the ministry, department, and its executive agencies, assisting and increasing coordination at the central level. All over the country, there is a network of administrative or executive agencies which are meant to execute policies as decided in the Secretariat. These include, among others, attached offices, subordinate offices, departmental undertakings, companies as required under the Companies Act, corporation or board set up under the Act of the Parliament, such as ONGC, T-Board, societies as registered under the Societies Act, the Institute of Foreign Trade. These executive agencies mainly do the job of execution in the implementation of policies. The executive agencies have increased in number over the years, though their powers have remained relatively the same as of before. This is what has led to the strained relation between the Secretariat and the executive agencies, leading at times to the duplication of work on the one hand and delay on the other.